Hey guys, good evening. It's the 15th of September. It's about 5 o'clock here in the Seattle area. The markets were very strong on the negative side today. The NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P 500 all down significantly. Strong NASDAQ in terms of 217 points, 1.5% down. S&P 500 down 1.2%, about 50 points, and the Dow was down nearly 280 points. That's 288, so 290 points, about 0.83%. So a rough end to the week overall. And I think this is going to be a continuation of what a lot of us expected to be a tough month besides August. August was kind of tough, and now September is turning out to be tough as well. But one company that showed up a little bit interesting in my scans was a company called Central Garden and Pet Company. CENT is the ticker symbol. So let's go through our five-step analysis, see what this shows up, why did it show up, and how's it doing. So start first always with the financials. Start with the fundamentals, see how the company is doing overall, just to make sure that we understand whether we're looking for a good company or just a smoke and mirrors company. So typically, I don't like to invest in companies less than $2 billion in market cap. That's my middle point or my low point, if you will. If anything is less than $2 billion in market cap, it's not worth it for me. I find a lot of movers and shakers in the smaller cap stocks to be a lot of scams. So I don't end up doing that. So looking at this company, has been growing fairly well. Did a little bit of a dip during COVID, and then started to regrow in 2022. And then this year hasn't been too strong. So I'm interested. Why is it that the company's stock is doing so well, even though the growth so far this year hasn't been, actually September 2022 hasn't been very good. 1 year, 1% growth for 2022. 2023 looks a little bit lower. So that doesn't seem interesting. But let's see, look at the quarterly. On a quarterly basis, there you go. After consistently slowing down growth, it has started to go up again, which is probably why the stock is coming up on the radar screen. Gross profit is about 300 million on a $1 billion, so roughly about 30% gross margins and about 10% net margins. So not a bad company. So 110 million. So not a bad company. I think the reason why it's showing up is because growth has started to go again. So this is something you want to watch for. Make sure that it is not a company that is just showing 1 quarter of growth. So it might be a good trade. Don't know if it is a long-term investment yet. Not much in terms of worry in terms of debt. Is about manageable debt of about 30%. So that's not bad. Now let's look at what it's been doing. So the stock, this is a long-term view. Take the all chart first. So it's been consistently hitting higher highs and higher lows. What do? You take and draw the trend line to figure out which stage is it in. So let's draw the topmost point we can get to the topmost point. So this is the highs. You see the consistent higher highs and higher lows as well. And I'm going to draw one even at the bottom to show you what that would look like. So I'm not going to draw it right through the lowest point, but this seems like a good point to be able to draw. So it's been consistent. So there you can see it's starting to move up, higher highs and higher lows. So on an upward trend, right now it seems to be in a little bit of a down. Maybe that was because of last year. Let's go through a weekly chart. The weekly chart actually shows me, and this is for the last, I would say 5 years or so. What it shows me is it went down a little bit, consolidated, grew very, very well till 2021. 2022, because of that downturn, has seen a significantly a channel that consistently has been poorly performing. So we look at this channel. This is a downward channel, not exactly a channel you want to be a part of. But now, 2022, September 23, actually, it started to grow up a little bit. See that moving up again, and it's formed two large green candles. So I want to see why is it that it's doing well. So on the long-term basis, still going up. On the short-term basis, after a downturn, it seems to have turned around. That's the reason why it's showing up. So look at this turn. This has made it tested the bottom. Seems like it has now made a move for the top. So I'm going to test why is it going, and then kind of in the middle. So this is something that I've got to watch for. Let's look at a daily chart. So what does the daily chart tell us? The daily chart, what you typically want to look for is earnings. Okay, so power, that's one of the reasons why. Look at the power earnings gap. It announced earnings seems like it had very good earnings. As I told you before, it was growing negative, and now both revenue and earnings seems to have gone up compared to what the expectations were, I would imagine, not necessarily versus what they were before. And that has formed a good power earnings graph, and then it has done a flag on the earnings. This is called a flag on the earnings. So it went down and then tested the bottom. So I want to start drawing some interesting levels. Let's start drawing it at the all portion of it first. So this seems like a good level because that's the all-time 62.5 seems like an all-time high, and a place where it might test again might be in this range, in the 35 range. Look at the number of times that it tested that range. Let's go and find if there might be some better ranges to test. But we will move this forward. So it's probably going to be a little bit lower, a little bit higher. So this is a range it might test. But really, right now, given how well it has performed, I would even move it up to this kind of a range, which is the 41 range or so after earnings. And then on a high point, it should probably clear out this 48 range first, given that that's where it's gone. So going back to the daily chart, I think 41, 48 might be a very good place to check. So it's already tested 41. And then today it did a huge power gap up, 10%, nearly 10% up. You want to find out why it did 10% up, but this was expected. Once you have a power gap like this, so power earnings gap up, and then a bull flag, after it tested the lows, it should have actually jumped off of here. So somewhere in the 42, 43 range, it should have gone up, but it didn't. So it broke the channel. This should have been a bear flag. So none of us would have been able to check that, but this proved that it's got a little bit of move. This was an unexpected move. I don't think, let me put it right. In this flag, bear flag, bull flag pattern, it should have gone up somewhere over here, but it tested a little bit more to move down against the previous support, which has now become, or resistance, which has now become the support, and did a phenomenal gap up. How would you play this? Now, you know that there is room. So that's what the chart looks like. Again, back to the basics. It's on an upward trend on a long-term basis. In the medium-term basis, it's gone through up channel, down channel, and then it's trying to move up back again. It's broken through some of these supports and resistances. It's done a very good move today. I mean, obviously, yesterday would have been a better place to buy it, but 10% up is a pretty significant flag. So I would watch for the next couple of days. Again, expecting a bull flag or a bear flag pattern, just to have it move down a little bit, get closer to where I would like to be able to buy it. If I wanted to buy it, should be a support of the 44 zone, I would imagine, or even in the, actually not that, let's draw a good zone as opposed to drawing just a line. I would expect somewhere in this 4406 to 4403 zone to be tested. So it should come down somewhere in this region, test this region, or it could also just test this 45.70, which is the previous resistance, and then move up there again. So from the 46.9, so 47 very close. So check if it comes down to the 45 range. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. So this is going to be the range to test. If it comes down to this level, might be a good place to buy. Check if it moves up, and then it starts to go up again, because it's done very, very well on both the earnings. Look at this earnings. Did a very good power earnings gap on the green. So it actually had been beaten down quite a bit. Just wanted to show you, just see what it repeats. Beautiful power earnings gap, green flag, and then in a little bit of a check flag. And then after the flag was tested, off it goes to the races. See, it's beautiful. This is where the power earnings gap ended. So where would it end up? Did this. So look at the pattern. It's similar, not identical. It's very, very similar. Did a flag, tested a little bit lower. This one seemed to also have tested a little bit lower. Look at that. It's got a, this stock seems to do one of those things where it does a beautiful earnings gap and then test that level again. Look at the previous one. Previous earning is test level. So this one, it's gone below. So it's filled the gap. Now that it's filled the gap between the power earnings and the previous test. So it's almost, actually it's filled the gap and now it's bad again. So watch for CENT to move from 47, 46.92, 47 to hit somewhere in the 45.77 to 45.05 zone, and then it should go up back again. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of it. I appreciate it, guys, very, very much.